Yo, what is up everybody? In this video, I'm going to be building a $2,000 computer. I'm super excited because I always wanted a really good computer. In order for me to reach this goal, I had to sell my camera and my previous computer. Since I had to sell my camera, in this video, quality won't be great, but it's still fine. I'm actually using Moises' phone to record this, so cheers to him for letting me borrow his phone. But this video will be a build guide and also just my overall experience for technically my first time building my very own PC. So this video will be like a half guide and half of just my pure experience of building a PC. I will be trying my best to at least explain a few things here and there to help any of you new beginners out there looking forward to building a PC. Now warning, if you're legitimately using this video for PC build help, please watch the entire video because I make a few oopsies that I want people to see to realize the realistic possibilities when building a computer. In my opinion, don't just absolutely purely use this video as a helping video for your PC, but as a video of what to expect and for references and extra insider takes from one's other perspective. In this case, that's me. Trust me, I care for your build as much as I care for my own too. This video will be described in 3 parts. The first part will be me describing the items and what I purchased and what they do and the price point. The second part will be me actually building the computer, and the third part will be me setting it up. Alright, for the first part, I ordered the Asus Prime Z390A ATX motherboard. It cost me about $180. On top of that, I ordered the I7-9700K. This came around $375. So yeah, this is the processor. This is basically the brain of the computer. So this is really necessary for building a computer. The motherboard is like the body of the computer. This is where everything goes. For storage, I went with an M.2. This is a 500 gigabyte Samsung NVMe M.2. This is just my boot drive. But for games, I went with the Seagate Barracuda 2 terabyte. I haven't opened it yet, but I want to keep it in the package in case it falls or something. Because hard drives, if you don't know, they're really fragile. For the RAM, I went with the Oloy. I think that's how you pronounce it. 32 gigabytes, 2x16, 3600 megahertz RAM. I went with this because it was pretty good. It was actually for a really good price. It was just like $100. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, this came in at around, how much did it cost? I think around $100 too. For the CPU cooler, I went with the NHD15. This is a really good cooler. This is really high rated. Everyone likes this. It's not the best looking thing, but it sure does the performance, and it's pretty quiet too, so it's really good. The only downside I would say is that it's just really big, but it's alright. For my power supply, I went with the Thermaltake Smart Pro RGB 750 watt. Now, when you're building a computer, the last thing you want on your mind is RGB, unless you got the money like that to spend it. But for me, I was watching out because RGB does increase the price of a lot of things. But I luckily found this for only $100. So this is actually a pretty good price for only 750 watt. And RGB is always nice to have. So for the case, I went with the Fractal Meshify C white case. This is a really good case. It's nice looking. It doesn't have any RGB, so it's not flashy or anything. And it came in around $100. Oh, I forgot to say the other prices of everything else. The air cooler was $90. The power supply was $100. I already said that. What am I doing? Oh, and the GPU. I saved this for last. This is the RTX 2080 Super. It's by EVGA. It's the XE Ultra. This is a really good GPU. Really high rated too. It came in at around, how much did it cost? Like $750. But now it's time for the building process, so let's get to that. Alright, so just to be safe with everything, I do recommend putting the motherboard, after you take it out of the box, put it on top of the box. Alright, so when you're installing the CPU, you need to unlatch this. So you just pull it back, and then it comes off like that. And now you need to add the CPU in there. All right, so when installing the CPU, make sure you're careful, because CPUs are pretty fragile. Take your time when you're aligning because you make sure you want to get this perfectly. Okay, so after the CPU's installed, just put it down and then pull down the latch. And then it'll feel like a little bit of struggle, but it's all right. There we go. And then this thing will pop off. So now that your CPU is installed, you need some thermal paste. But I actually forgot to install the bracket first, so I need to do that first. Let me also remove some of these tapey things. You don't want these on your computer when you turn it on. There's a lot of this stuff, yo. Make sure you keep this, by the way. This is very important in case you need to return it or something. All right, so now let's place the back bracket. We need to flip this around. All right, so this is putting the bracket on. Just have it fall through there. Now I can flip it over, keeping that bracket there. Okay. All right, so now you need these. Okay, so after you place these little nuts right here, this is what you want to do on 4 sides. You want to place these. All right, now you want to mount the mounting brackets for the air cooler. Now you want to screw on these nuts. Alright, so before I actually install the CPU cooler, I'm actually going to install the easy stuff like the RAM and the M.2 slot. So I'm going to do that real quickly. Alright, so the RAM, when you're installing your RAM, you want to make sure that the little notch is compatible with the little hinge on the bottom. So in my case, it should be right here. So this is how I should install it. If you're getting 2 pieces of RAM and you have 4 slots, then you should look at your motherboard's manual and check which are the best 2. And in my case, it's the gray ones. So all you have to do is just pull down the notches and then just insert. That was the wrong fucking side of my dumbass. There we go. I took off the little metal bracket that goes right here. Took it off. So now I will be able to insert the M.2. And to insert it, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is just align it up and then just plug it in. Alright, so next what I need to do is peel this off because this is like thermal paste for the M.2. Alright, now that that's off, we just place it and then screw it. Alright, so after I officially installed my RAM and my M.2, I'm now going to install the thermal, or not install, but put on thermal paste on the CPU. Now the CPU, or the CPU cooler, the NHD15, does come with some thermal paste, but I ordered this separate one called the MX4 thermal compound. So I'm gonna be using this one just because other people use it when they order the CPU cooler. So I'm just gonna use this one. When you're putting on your thermal paste, you usually want to put a really small amount. Over putting some would it could probably damage it, or like, I don't know, but don't put so much. Just put a little less than you think. So for me, I'm just gonna put just like a pea size amount. Okay, that's good. I put a little bit. That's a good amount. That's a good amount. I kind of missed. I didn't expect it to go down here, but whatever. All right, after you installed your thermal paste, you want to install your CPU cooler. Just like, let me try to line it up perfectly. All right, I think I got it. I'm screwing in the cooler. It's spring, so just screw a little bit of one side and go back to the other side, and then just keep doing it back and forth so it's like equal amount. The NHD15 does come with a really handy screwdriver. It's really long. Oops. It's really long and it does get the job done. I need to fix the M.2. Alright, to install the M.2, you need to take off the heatsink, and then you put in this little screw in and just hand tighten it. That's where the end of my M.2 will rest. So now, if I put in my M.2, plug it in. There we go. Now if I push it down, you see where it rests? It rests on that bolt I put. Now I need to put it down and put it over the M.2 and in the hole of the thing I just put. And I'm gonna hand tighten it so it's snug, and then I'll screw it. There we go. So now I'm gonna screw it in. All right, now I gotta put the heat sink on. So let me do that. Line it up. Boom. And boom. Perfect. Now, let me put these screws back in. I'm gonna hand tighten it so it's snug. And after they're snug, I actually screw them. All right, so now that my heatsink for my CPU is installed, my CPU is installed, my RAM's installed, and my M.2 is installed, now I just need to put the fans on the thingamajig, and then we're good. All right, so that, and make sure it's a little bit above the RAM. And then boom. All right, so this is how it looks. The fan on the top is a little bit higher, but I made that so there's RAM clearance, just barely, as long as down here too. So yeah, we got the fan, now we just need to plug it in. All right, so I found the CPU fan headers. So I'm just gonna plug one in. All right, I successfully connected both of them. The second one was harder because it was more under the fan. But now that everything is complete on the motherboard, let's switch over to the case and open it up and attach the motherboard, and then put the power supply in it. All right, so before you install the motherboard, you need to put standoffs in the case. So I'm gonna do that right now. Line up the motherboard first in the chassis so that you know where to put the standoffs. So all I have to do is just line up the I/O with the I/O shield and line up the little standoff in the center. All right, boom, it's in. All right, so this is the Thermaltake power supply. Boom, right here. It comes with a little baggie. Inside it has all the cables that I need. In case you don't know, this is a fully modular power supply. That means that there's no permanent cables attached to it, so it makes cable management a lot easier. So to install it, I need to unscrew these two. This actually goes on your power supply, this little bracket. The case came with two power supply screws, which will go into the little bracket to attach to the power supply, which then I will later put inside the shroud. The case actually came with 4, but the bracket only allows me to use 2. All right, now the bracket is attached. Now you want your fan to face down most of the time when you're putting it in the shroud, because it makes airflow better. All right, well, I messed up. I need to actually take this out, plug in all the cables I need, and then reconnect it back, because there's no way I can get cables in here. So I need to do that. All right, so I'm gonna connect everything. So the first thing I'm gonna connect is the CPU power connector. This will power the CPU. So I'm just gonna put it in right here. It's a 4+4. So usually the ones that are separated, you don't put in this thing, but the ones that are connected, you put it in the power supply. Now I'm gonna connect this is the power cable for the GPU. It's in red, so it's pretty easy to spot. So this is the only cable that's connected, so this has to go in the power supply. These two are both separated, so they don't go with the power supply. So I'm gonna connect it right now. Now this will be the power connector for the motherboard. This is very important, so it powers your motherboard. So this huge thing is what goes in your motherboard. And then this one's just for smaller boards, I think. And this one's the one that goes in the power supply. So let's do that. All right, everything I need is connected. All I need now is the SATA. This is for my hard drive. So I'm gonna connect that now. All right, now that's connected. So we're good. I have all the cables that I need to power everything. I have my GPU, my CPU power, my motherboard power, and my SATA power. Now I can go ahead and connect this back to the shroud. All right, so this is the Barracuda drive. So I took it out of its shell, and then this little thing right here, you just pinched on the sides to take it out of the case, and those 4 rubber points match with the 4 screws right here. There's one right there, one right there, another one right there. So you just drop it on there to match it. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. So now you have to screw it in, and then after you screw it in, you put it back in, and then it keeps the hard drive secured. So I'm gonna do that right now. Now I need to connect this for data to go from the hard drive to the motherboard. A little clicky sound, that's nice to hear. All I need to connect now is the front panels. So this thing, this, all these. All right, so these 2 fans weren't connected, but I connected both of them. So this one is actually connected right down there, right up there. And this one is connected right there. I did this off camera, so yeah. Now I just need to connect this one. When Mexicans build PCs, they always got Mexican food with them. It's just like a general rule. Oh my god, I win it. Boom. So the hard drive is now connected in there. The 2 fans are connected. God, look at the mess. All right, so the second last thing to connect is these, which are right here. So I'm gonna connect them now. And the last thing after that would have to be the GPU. And I'll connect the GPU in, and hopefully the PC works. All right, so off camera, I installed I installed all of these cables. I installed the audio, I installed the USB 3.0 for the front panel, and I installed all these little tiny cables for the front panel. I did this all off camera, and in case you don't know how to do it, here, I'll give you an example right now. So let me take out one of these little tiny pieces. All right, so so under it, you see it says power SW. It's upside down, but power SW. So you just look at the cable, and then you look at your motherboard, and then you look for where it says power SW, and then you line it up, and then you just connect it. And then that's what you do for the rest of the other little panel types, little panel connectors. So I did them all right there. It's a little bit messy, but it's not really noticeable when you go farther out. And for this, you just connect it to the 3.0. You can just look on your motherboard's manual and you'll find it there. Also, and the same thing for the HD audio. And I can show you on my manual. So as you can see from my manual, from my motherboard, I go to the page where it says motherboard layout, and it gives me a bunch of numbers and tells me what a bunch of things are. And then right here where it says number 12, if I go to number 12, it says system panel connector, and this is where everything just goes. And then if I look for USB, it says U31G1_78, this is number 15. If I go there, USB 3.1 Gen 1 connector, and that's where I connected it, and that's where it's supposed to go because it's USB 3.0, but it doesn't really matter. Even though it's a 3.1, it's compatible for 3.0 too. Well, at least that's what I think so. And for the audio, I just looked here. This is number 19. I looked at number 19. Front panel audio connector, and I just connect the audio. And right there it says HD audio. So yeah. So that's how you connect the bottom pieces. But now that we finished with the bottom pieces, now we can, well, first I'm gonna plug it in and see if everything works. And if everything works, then I can plug in the GPU, plug in the power connectors for the GPU, and then we should be good from there. But I really hope everything works. This is my first time building the PC, so I really hope everything works. So yeah. Alright, so it's been about a week and this shit is trash. It came in dead, so I had to order a new one. So I packed it up so I can return it for refund. But let me get this trash out of here. But luckily I was able to get this. Here, I'll show the box. This is the EVGA Supernova 750 watt P2. I found this for like 180 bucks, and it's rated platinum. Now the thing with the other power supply, it was rated bronze, and there's a spectrum for everything that's rated. It goes from like non-rated to white to bronze to silver to gold to platinum, and then to titanium. Titanium is the best, and then the worst is probably like white or unrated, you know, obviously. But this is platinum, so this is one under titanium. So that means it's really efficient. The rankings mean what efficiency is. What's the efficiency? So as you go higher above the spectrum, you get better efficiency on your power supply. So yes, I found this for 180 bucks. It's a pretty good price. And yeah, so I'm gonna put it in my computer. All right, so when putting in your power supply, you usually want the fan to be on the bottom, facing down. But with this case, there's actually ventilation for the top part. So that's where I'll be putting the fan. So in order to put the fan, especially on this case, you just unscrew these. And this is what goes on the power supply. And then you just put the power supply in when this thing is connected onto it. It's pretty easy actually. So you have a choice. Well, in my case, you have two choices. You can either use the screws from the power supply, or you can use the screws from the case. And in this case, I'm gonna be using the power supply screws. So all you do is just properly line it up and then just screw it in. Okay, before you actually put the power supply in the case, you need to actually plug in these things here. If you get a fully modular power supply, then you need to connect, because fully modular means just, you know, full customizability. That's a big ass word. And that just helps with cable management, and it just puts in the things that you need. So there's a bunch of slots here. Like right here says the motherboard. This is the long ass pins that we need to connect to the motherboard. We have the CPU slot, and down here are the GPUs, and then yeah. All right, so I have all my cables here that I'll need. I'll go through each one. This one is the motherboard cable. This is the cable that will go inside your power supply and connect into your motherboard. It will power your motherboard. So you can tell well, this one's really handy because it says MB. That means motherboard. That's really helpful for some people because sometimes they don't know, but I already know this, so yeah. And then this part is where it'll plug into the power supply. So these need to go in with each other. So let me just plug in like that. Okay. So now that the motherboard power connector is in, this is ready to go inside my motherboard. Next, we have the SATA. This is what will connect into my hard drive so it powers on. This is the little power connector that goes in the power supply. And then these things right here are all for hard drives. Now there's a lot on this. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'll only be using one. So yeah. So I'm gonna plug it in. SATA 1, SATA 2, SATA 3. I'm gonna plug it into SATA 1 because yeah. There we go, click. So now these will have power and I can plug it into my hard drive when I get there. Now it's time for the CPU connector. This is what will power my CPU. So let's find CPU one right here. So let's connect it. There we go. So now this will have power and this will go into the motherboard to power my CPU when I get there. Now the last one is the graphics card cable. Now this is what will power my graphics card. Okay, so now this is in and this is ready to connect into my graphics card when I get there as well. So now I can put this in my case and then we can get to wiring. That's good. It's in good. All right, so the objective is get that big ass connector that I shown earlier, the 24 pin, into that. The camera kind of sucks at picking it up, but this is what I need to connect it into. All right, the CPU connector is right there. I'm pointing at it right now. This is actually gonna be hell because this big ass CPU cooler is gonna fuck me up. So it's gonna take a bit. Oh, and by the way, when I was putting in this CPU connector, with the other power supply, my hand kept touching this, and this thing is really sharp. So I got like a bunch of cuts on my hand, but they're barely visible because it happened like last week. But hopefully it doesn't happen again. It most likely will, but. Now that we got the CPU connected in and the motherboard connected in, we need to connect the hard drive. So let's do that. All right, so I'm just gonna choose one of these random SATA connectors and just plug it in the hard drive. I need to plug it in right there. It's kind of hard to see because there's a bunch of wires, but you just go like this. And just plug it in like that. Now it is in, so now the hard drive is going to be powered. All right, so now that I've basically finished cable management, it doesn't look too bad. It's kind of messy down there, but I mean, what do you expect? There's one more cable, and this is for the graphics card. But before you insert the graphics card, I'm gonna turn on the computer and see if it works. And if it works, then we plug in the GPU, and then we can go to installing Windows. We got fans spinning. Oh my god, this is really cool. Wait, let me turn it off. Turn off, please. Okay. Guys, you don't understand how nervous I was to turn it on because, oh my god, I was so nervous. Holy shit. Thank God it works. Okay. The only negative part is that this cable is really close to the freaking... How do you pull it back? Oh man, it works. It turns on. You don't understand how nervous I was. Okay, so cool thing is when the computer's not on, the motherboard is on. The LEDs are on at least. That's pretty cool. Ah, man. Okay. Well, I'm gonna plug in the GPU and we can get to installing Windows. Let's do this. We got the graphics card. This is the RTX 2080 Super from EVGA. It's the XC Ultra. This thing's a beast. It'll do really good at pretty much any game you throw at it. So yeah, we're gonna unbox it. Boom. Boom. So how to install it in your GPU is pretty easy. Just get this metal line that will connect into the motherboard and just line it up. And then when you're lining it up, make sure that these metal plates line up with metal brackets that you have to take off on the left side right here. So I'm just gonna line it up and see which ones I have to take off. I have to take off like 3. Is that correct? I have to take off these 3. Okay. Now the screws that are already in the case, and you have to take off these metal brackets. The screws, you need to keep them so that you can use them when you install your GPU. All right, now that all the necessary brackets are removed for the GPU, all we do now is when you're choosing a GPU slot, choose the highest one possible. I have 3 GPU slots, but I'm gonna choose this one up here. And then just pull down the switch that I just did, and then line it up. And now that it's lined up, we just slot it in. Make sure that it's in good. Personally, I didn't hear any clicks, but I think it's in pretty good. You can try giving me a tug out, trying to take it out, but it's in. Yeah, it's definitely in. Now that's in, you just take the screws that you used and just put them back. And boom. Graphics card is installed. Now one thing we are missing is the connector for the GPU. So we gotta get that in real quick. I don't know why there's 2. I think this is for like, I don't know, just like if you haven't, I don't know, to be honest, I don't know. But I'm gonna be using this. I think this, I'm pretty sure this is all you need. Last time I checked. All right. Boom. The power in for the GPU is now in. I just push this back. And boom. There we go. This is what it looks like. Yeah, this is my PC now. Okay, it kind of looks not as good as I wanted it to in terms of cable management. I don't care about aesthetics, by the way. I think I mentioned that earlier. But I don't know, it's not bad. Cable management is a B+ for me. I give it a B+. But now, well, let's turn it on. Let's see. Okay, so that cable right there is the wrong cable for the GPU. That one right there, because it doesn't have this. That's why there was 2 holes on the GPU. You actually need to use both of them, and the power supply came with one, and I used the wrong one, but it's all right. So I'm just gonna connect this one in there, and connect that the power supply, and then we should be good. All right. Now the VGA cable is now connected into the GPU. So now we're ready. So I'm gonna turn it on, see if it boots into Windows. Okay, there we go. Boot up, please. Asus in search of incredible. I think it's going well. Okay, we got a load. Boom! This is what we want. All right, so English, I want that. Time and currency, English, keyboard, US. Just click next. Now we're gonna hit install. Now Windows is now installing on the computer. If you don't know how to get the USB with Windows in it, there's plenty of videos out there. Just look up on YouTube or Google or literally like pretty much anywhere. How do I install Windows on my USB? And then once you learn how, you install on your USB and then you plug it in your computer before you turn it on, and then it should put you into the Windows process. And if you don't know how to install Windows when you get here, there's plenty of videos out there as well to teach you how to install Windows. I'm installing Windows right now. It's kind of trash, there we go. But yeah, so there's plenty of videos, there's plenty of sources out there that teaches you how to get Windows on USB and teaches you how to install Windows on your PC once you get it. So yeah. Has to restart. It's gotta restart. Oof. Just a moment. Getting your PC ready. I was gonna say that. Boom. So after you've like installed Windows, it'll just be like getting a new laptop, you know, just to tell you everything that you need to fill out. So what region is this? United States. Is this the right keyboard layout? US, yes. I want to add a second keyboard layout. No, skip. Let's connect you to a network. Ethernet. I'm gonna connect to a Ethernet right now, so let me do that. All right, we got internet now, so let's connect to that. Now we have some important setup to do. It is 9:39 p.m. where I am. It's pretty late, but all I want to do is just set up the PC. All right, now we're in my computer. It just finished whatever it was doing. We're in my computer now. If you made it to the end of the video, then thank you so much for watching. It truly means a lot. So if you actually finish building your PC and that shit boots up, then the last thing for you to do is download drivers, which isn't hard at all. You can find plenty of sources on the internet on how to install drivers for your PC. I know some good videos out there that can help you out that sure as hell helped me out. But that's basically the end of the video. This video was really hard for me to make, so liking and subscribing if you're new definitely helps out a fuck ton. I'll be streaming on Twitch now, so make sure to check me out. Link in the description, or just type in twitch.tv/primarygrant13 and make sure to follow me on there too. So for those of you who care, I made a part 2 for the video called The Battle of the Two. But before I sold my PC, I had to put the video somewhere, right? So I put it in a USB, but then the USB died out of nowhere, so the video is officially R.I.P. and I'm not filming it again. The video starred Moises and Imanol, my two brothers. Since I got a new PC now, I'ma see if the USB works in the new computer, but if it doesn't, then I'ma just write the whole story of part 2 in the description for those of you who actually care about it. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching. Peace.